with you and an aerial view. Let me care for you. Is it just too late? Don't wanna make you wait. Don't wanna make you breathing my beloved in like smoke. I'll choke to death before I let you go. I need you. It takes time to prove. But if I could, I'd make a deal with God and ask her to turn back time. I'll be running up that hill, be running up that road for the rest of life. Coming again from a starscape. How far could you travel through the dark gate to reach a voice at the destination that you recognize like second nature? Lying to myself in a stark sky, trying to hide from a dark side that I denied, and the starlight was my only guide till this bride arrived and let the sparks fly. How real was it? Well, we had a vibe. I was feeling high, feeling half alive. I was feeling young, but all that aside, I was feeling that love that was amplified. And we made love forever. Only stopped to get up and flip the record. Stars beaming in through the glass walls. 44 floors to the asphalt. I won't throw your love away. I won't pour down rain today. But if I could, I'd make a deal with God. Ask her to turn back time. I'll be running up that hill, be running up that road for the rest of life. But if I could, I'd make a deal with God and ask her to turn back time. I'll be running up that hill, be running up that road for the rest of life.
It's Andrew Huang. Kate Bush and Running Up That Hill are having a real moment right now thanks to the song's use in the new season of Stranger Things. And it reminded me of this project that I started 13 years ago that incorporates her chorus, and it's just time to finish this up. Look at this. We've got July 4th, 2009. I started this project, left it alone for a few years, spent a lot of time on it in 2017. I was gonna put this on my Stars album. Stars didn't end up happening, and now just in the past week, I've been trying to polish this up. So I thought in this video, I'd do a little breakdown of some of the interesting production and song arrangement stuff that happened with this track, because it kind of does come across as a pretty standard electronic pop kind of thing, but there is some pretty interesting stuff, I think, happening under the surface. So let's jump in.
If I could, I'd make a deal with God.
First of all, this is not a cover song. It's like an original track where I ended up wanting to reference Running Up That Hill because it just happened to fit, and it's been one of my favorite songs for a long time. But then I also kind of played with the chorus a bit, changed some of Kate Bush's words. Hope you don't consider that sacrilegious. Just played with it, really. You know, I like to play with the music that I love, and so it's kind of my own take on that, but also then huge chunks of the song are just another original song that I was working on. So here's what I did with the Running Up That Hill part.
If I could, I'd make a deal with God and ask her to turn back time. I'll be running up that hill, be running up that road for the rest of life.
So slight change to the end of the melody and a couple changes to the lyrics. Most notably, everybody who I've played this for is like, you made God a woman. And yeah, that's just long time ago. At some point, I decided to pray to God as if God was female rather than male, which is how I was brought up. And what I'll say about this is that it just was a big change in my spiritual journey. We can leave it there. So that's the Running Up That Hill reference in this track. And then, you know, I have my own verses that I kind of fit around that. And I want to actually play the different sections because every version of every section is a little bit different. On the second chorus, it's the same as what you just heard, but I bring in some of this resampled guitar. Just a simple descending line, but something that fills a little bit of extra high frequency space and kind of gives that part of the song a little extra lift. Then in the third chorus, instead of building things up even further, I kind of felt like they had gotten to 10 already, and so instead I stripped it back. There used to be all these synth chords. Cut those out of the third chorus and then put on some distortion on the bass to just bring it out and make it really drive more. If I make a deal with God. So a lot more spacious and just a different kind of vibe. I'll be running up that hill. Some extra little vocal effects that aren't in any of the other choruses. For the rest of life. And I start building again and I bring in this arpeggio, and this has appeared in some of the verses but not in any of the choruses before, so kind of a fun variation there. Running up that hill, be running up that road for the rest of life. I also took out that guitar line and instead that comes back after the chorus during this kind of like outro tag thing. And similarly, all my verses have different arrangements. So the first one is like this. I wanted it to come in pretty strong. If we don't look up, from this all we love. Now the second verse is much more chill. I dial back some of the synths and take the hand claps out, little things like that. I'll be there with you and an aerial view. And then the pre-choruses are different too. The first one goes from heavy to light. Is all I have. Now in the second pre-chorus, we're continuing from a chill verse, so the pre-chorus is chill as well, and then the second half of the pre-chorus actually comes in pretty full on, almost as if it's now part of the chorus, which I haven't done that before, but it just felt good here. Before I let you go, I need you. And then right before the third chorus, there's another pre-chorus, which is actually just a completely different thing. I just wrote something different, needed a change up, wanted something chill before that third chorus comes in, and this is what I came up with. Cool little bass fill here. If I could make a deal with God. All right, now let's look at this bridge. Coming again from a starscape. How far could you travel through the dark gate to reach a voice at the destined acre that you recognize like second nature? I've never used this chord progression before. G minor, A minor, D minor, E major. So a little like out of key thing with the E major thing there. But in the arpeggio, I've also got an F occasionally over the E major chord. So it's got like that hint of this minor 9 flavor. That little F passing note happens there. Such a nerdy small detail, but it's like one of my favorite little things. I really like how that E7 resolves back to the first chord in the progression G minor. So in E7, you've got E, G sharp, B, D. In G minor, you've got G, B flat, D. So this really nice thing happens where the D hangs out on top, but then the G sharp and the B both get lowered a semitone to G and B flat. And then the E comes out entirely, or you could think of like the E going down to another D. Just a little mini episode of Theory Thursday for you. How good was it? Well, we had a vibe. I was feeling high, feeling half alive. So last thing I want to show you is something I did with the guitars on this bridge. Halfway through the bridge, this part comes in. And when I wrote this, I just played that plucking on my guitar, but then I decided to record each individual note separately. So like one part goes like this. Next one goes on top. And then there's a third one, and on this one I used my tremolo arm. And so the reason I wanted to record these notes separately is because I wanted only the third note of each chord to tremolo. All the notes would tremolo if I had just played it the way I wrote it. So instead I recorded these notes separately so I could have that tremolo on just individual notes while the other ones still rang out. But then also, this allowed me to like pan each note a little bit differently, and I doubled each track of notes and pitch shifted the doubles up an octave. And this is another thing that is better done with these individual notes rather than a chord, because as you pitch shift a chord up, the artifacts get a little more artifacty, and so I could just get a cleaner pitch shift by having individual notes on each track. And then similar concept to that, on each of these guitar tracks, I've got this amp simulator on, adding just a little bit of crunch. And since it's adding that distortion to the individual notes, it's cleaner overall than if I was adding it to all of the notes. If I had played all the notes in one track, as you may know, that would just cause so much more distortion as all the different harmonics interacted. So here are the 6 tracks together, the 3 different notes at 2 different octaves each, a little bit of panning on each of them, individual light drive on each of them. Now, another cool thing that I wasn't anticipating when I recorded it this way is that it allowed me to get more creative with these guitar parts for other parts of the track, and that's actually how I ended up coming up with that descending guitar line that I showed you earlier. I just resampled one of these individual notes, and I made this line out of that single note, which I wouldn't have been able to do if the other notes were ringing out with it. And additionally, here you can see I've automated the volume of the high octave to be louder for this part. So it's subtle, it's 5.5 dB of gain there, but then it's going into a compressor. But it just really helped once I had everything in the mix, having that guitar part poke out a little bit more where I want it to be sort of a counterpoint lead line in the chorus, whereas in the bridge, this plucked guitar part is more of a supporting chord element. So the full track is an exclusive on my Patreon if that's something you're interested in, and I hope you got something out of the ideas in today's video. I'll see you next time.